Yo, it's Ika here, coming to you with a tier list of Brotato. I've been playing this game obsessively for the last 110 or so hours. I've gotten completions on Danger 5 for all characters. I'm trying to think if I've gotten for every single character. Can't remember if I did arms dealer. Can I even see arms dealer here? Oh yeah, there he is. But I'm pretty sure I did get arms dealer completed. Finally. That was my last one. My second last one was actually Artificer. But yeah, I thought I'd give my thoughts on each of the characters, and it won't be in alphabetical order. I'll do it in, I guess, shop order. Shop order, is that the correct word? But I'll do it in character select screen order. So I'll start with well-rounded, which is basically the base potato. Well-rounded is, I mean, there are some good things about well-rounded. Like, the stats are nothing special. Like 5 HP means nothing. 5% speed is nice. The 8 harvesting is actually underrated, I think. I mean, it just gives you about, I'd say about 200 or so extra, XP and minerals. Materials, there you go, not minerals, materials throughout the game. So it's good. But yeah, this character's nothing special. I'd say on Danger 5, which is what I'll be ranking all of these on. It's like a base character, but it's okay. It's not, I won't call it good, because the thing with well-rounded is it's like there's no like steroids on well-rounded that you can like really focus on. At the same time, it has no real weak sides, but I feel like a lot of the potatoes have like strengths that bring them beyond like the weakness of of well-rounded. So like they have more strengths and weaknesses on average to cast. So well-rounded for me is like slightly below average because of that. Brawler is the second character on the list. Basically, you get extra attack speed with unarmed weapons. You start with fists, and you get dodge and minus range and range damage. I like Brawler. I think it's pretty good. Unarmed weapons, I'm not a huge fan of. I use this on the assumption that if you're a god at dodging, melee weapons, especially the short range ones, can be very good, but I would say unarmed is generally, whilst it's a good tag, it's not actually they're not actually a good set of weapons. The fist scale, okay. I would only ever go with fists with unarmed brawlers. You can do some stuff with hands, with specifically like pacifist and stuff like that is good with, but yeah, just go with fists. Power fist is okay, pretty good. The blazing fist is I'm not a fan of, but yeah, I'd pretty much just go with 6 fists and go. It's pretty simple, straightforward character, and it's better than the steroid is enough to make it better than well-rounded, but it's nothing crazy. Unlike crazy, which is crazy. See if I can find this little guy. Here we go. I think crazy's better than unarmed. I'd argue it's powerful. I guess it's good. It's good. The range with precise weapons, not really a big deal. I think it's good with shurikens. I think what I do with crazy is go shuriken build almost always. The attack speed is very good, actually. The minus dodge you don't really care about, and engineering and range damage, well, you're not going either of those things. I mean, you can technically go crossbow on a precise build, but like crossbow's bad as an item, so I wouldn't recommend it. I think Crazy's stronger than Brawler. I'm just putting these here for now. In fact, Crazy I put in this tier, but it's probably towards the bottom of it. But it's nothing special. I think with Brawler you kind of like are forced to go into a unarmed build, because like basically if you were just to go melee, you'd have like slightly worse. You'd just be a worse well-rounded, really, because well-rounded, you generally. My recommendation is to go ranged when you can, because it's safer, and also the ranged weapons. A lot of them, like the submachine gun, shotgun, are very, very strong, and slingshot, of course. I think range overall is better than melee. However, talking of range, the Ranger, I think it's good. In fact, it's better than Brawler. I would say one thing with the Ranger is that it's... actually, no, I'll go all the way to powerful. I don't think it's as powerful as Crazy. I think the max HP modification is actually pretty big, unless you get like a lot of lifesteal in your builds. Of course, like, so you can be a bit squishy, so you can die in like elite waves, or if you get overwhelmed by horde waves. But I mean, if you get the right items with Ranger, like Baby in a Beard, you get like loads of decent wave clear, like Ricochet is another good one. Get the piercing, bandanas, like the typical ranged pop-off items. And Ranger is pretty strong. I'd say the squishiness sets it back from being further. In fact, it might be even stronger than Crazy. Crazy doesn't really have any downsides. Like the dodge is nothing, and you know you're not building engineering and range damage. I think precise weapons are pretty strong, anyways. Mage, I think Mage is only good, and the problem with Mage is the way that elemental damage works. Elemental damage, whilst Mage is definitely the best elemental character by far in the game that has like an elemental positive modification, like just having a snake and a scared sausage start is really good. The only issue is with Mage is like it takes a bit of time for elemental's not like an immediate impact sort of class. This is the similar problem that engineering actually has, although engineering's problem is like the concentration of the fire and damage, and it's a bit undertuned anyways. But yeah, with elemental damage, it's not. It takes a bit to go, so yeah, you'll eventually kill stuff after a few seconds of like kiting it, but like at that point you might get overwhelmed. So yeah, generally what stops things from being like anything in B, like you could be very good offensively but like weak defensively. I'll put it in the bottom there. I still think it's worse than Ranger. Ranger just can clear screens instantly, whereas Mage you're waiting for ticks essentially. Maybe you got a flamethrower going. You can mitigate this with stuff like the build that I like to do is 5 tasers plus 5 tasers plus 1 flamethrower. I think flamethrower is needed on Mage. Actually, it's just a goated elemental item. And then yeah, just stack your scared sausages, your snakes, and just go. Chunky boy, where are you? See if I can find you. There you are. I'd say you're okay. you could do some good stuff with Chunky in terms of like the cleavers. I think is a good synergy with Chunky with the amount you can get back from consumables. I'm generally not a huge fan of characters, even though Chunky does get slightly tankier. I'm not a huge fan of characters with no bonus speed, and I think the HP regen modifications are bad as well, because you got to think about. I think HP regen is probably the best any run sort of type of regen in the game. Obviously there are exceptions, like if you've got a minigun or submachine gun, or something like that, or the slingshot with lifesteal. But I think that health regen is really strong. The fact that Chunky is you don't really want to build health regen or lifesteal, and you're just relying on getting consumables. Can be hard if you don't get high luck. That's another thing that Chunky needs, I think, that makes him weaker overall. The 1% damage for every 3 max HP, not really a big deal. I mean, yeah, you get 33% extra damage for 100 HP. I mean, there's some characters that just get more than that, get as much as that anyways, just by existing. They don't even have to have HP. And really, as I say, it's more about effective HP, i.e. are you have lots of armor? Do you have lots of regen, i.e. you can be constantly regenning, so over 10 seconds, a character that's getting 10 extra HP a second has essentially 100 extra HP. Even if they only have 40 base HP, as long as they're not dying, that's 140 HP that they have in their pool, versus something with no regen that has 100 HP. That character's less tanky than the other character. So yeah, I think max HP on its own, whilst it looks appealing, I don't think it's as good as people think. Then we got Old. I like Old. Well, the main thing with Old, I think Old only has positive traits, except, I mean, the minus 10% speed sucks, but minus 25% enemy speed, you're basically, when you think about it, that's an extra 15% speed. Harvesting for free, minus map size means you can easily do everything. The minus 10% enemies is kind of rough as well, because it lowers your economy, but you do make up with that with the harvesting. I think he's actually quite strong. I'm not gonna lie. The fact that enemies are just so slow is so good for Old. I think he's better than Mage, but I don't think he's on that level. Lucky, if I can find him. Where do I put Lucky? By the way, with these, there's I consider you to be able to win the run most times. I think having great luck is an underrated stat. Yeah, just stack luck things on this guy. The minus attack speed is kind of rough. Minus XP gain, I'm not a huge fan of, but yeah, I think Lucky is quite strong. Again, I think once you're getting the elephant and the cyber ball going, you can start doing essentially chain killing with Lucky, with the AoE, and then you only have to really focus on other things like survival. Also, Lucky gets like loads of items and loads of consumables versus other characters. So there's like natural hidden regen and hidden items and stats in Lucky's kit. Yeah, the only thing I'd say is like his offensive presence without that is not that good. But I think like you're only worrying about that with elites and bosses. The rest of it you should be fine with Lucky. Mutant, very simple character. I think he's good. XP gain is great. Item price not as great, but is mitigated. I think it's overall positive, but only slightly positive. It also lowers some of the other like good XP gain items like Peacock and if you wanted to go that route, because like once you're getting plus 200%, like adding another 100% is only giving you, you know, you're getting a marginal gain from it. Talk about Generalist. Generalist was actually a character that I did struggle with. I don't think Generalist is weak per se. I think there's definitely characters that are weak. But Generalist has a problem of like the characters just, you know, I think there's only a few ways that you can go about it. And generally, like, Generalist, there's not weapons that benefit off melee and range other than Cactus. The Cactus club, which is like rubbish. Like, its range scaling is so bad that you might as well not even care about it. It does allow you to like I think with Generalists, my idea was to have my main damage like source be ranged, like build like, I think I went like 3 SMGs because I went essentially range damage is a lot harder to find than melee damage, which kind of like limits the actual power of SMGs, which have insane scaling. So with Generalists you can do that. The problem is you only have 3 of them, so it makes it slightly weaker. Yeah, the melee weapons mostly useless. You can have like something like cool, like maybe like shurikens plus SMGs would have like essentially a synergy. Not shurikens plus SMGs. What am I talking about? What did I actually use? I think I used spears plus SMGs of this guy. But yeah, wasn't an easy win by any means. I'd say it was. Yeah, it's harder than Chunky, I think. We've got Loud. Loud, I think, is very strong. And Loud, I think, is just straight up there. 50% enemies. I mean, the -3 harvesting is nothing. You can make that up easily. But 30% damage, 50% enemies. What you got to realise with 50% extra enemies is like, if you have, you know, good wave clear, SMGs, shotguns, you just get extra gold for free. There's 50% extra gold. So your economy is just so good that you just steamroll through the game, and obviously there's not 50% extra bosses. So there you go. Multitasker. I think it's good. I would say you only really have one build, which is like 12 sticks. 12 sticks mitigates the fact that you get -5% damage. Yeah. Every other build I think is weak. Like 12 sticks is the way to go, and then you just like kind of like run around, do stuff. But yeah, I think with 12 sticks it becomes a slightly better, it's decent You know, I think 12 sticks is actually there, but gotta realise that. And sticks are also like a good weapon because they're cheap and they're primitive. Two very good tags. Well, one good tag and one good attribute. Yeah, I'd say it's slightly weaker than Brawler of. Well, hard to say. Wardling. That's not Wardling. That's Jack. I'll be back to you, Jack. I actually think Wardling is like down here. Okay, it's not. I was tempted to put in weak, but I think it's here. The reason I think Wardling is not very strong is I think there's only one way you go, which is 6 slingshots. But I think slingshots do benefit the most from the extra bounces, which you don't really get with Wardling. Of course, the lifesteal, yeah, great. You're kind of forced to go 6 slingshots, in my opinion, and you know you get a lot of sustain, which is good, but anything else it doesn't really give you. Maybe it's better than these guys. Maybe it's like here, because it is strong, the sustain. Pacifists, very strong. I think it's up here. Is that crazy? I think it's stronger than crazy. Yeah, you just run around, kill a few trees, 6 hands, and then get tons of harvesting, get tons of XP. You'll be all good, I think. You know how to kill stuff, and then you just build defensive with this guy. Build defensive, build speed, build hands. I think it's like pretty simple and self-explanatory character. Gladiator. Again, another character I'm not a huge fan of, if I can find him. I think the minus attacks. I think it's okay, but it's like you have to have loads of different weapons, and ultimately a lot of the weapons don't really synergize with each other that well, and like it's hard to like judge the distances. I feel with Gladiator. I don't think it's weak because obviously, like if you have 6 different weapons, you're getting plus 60% attack speed. The minus luck is also kind of rough. You want to get that. You kind of need to spend like, I'd say 50 luck quite early in the game. Saver, this character's weak. The reason I say that is that I think you have to do a lot of like risk early on in the game with Saver. If you get to like wave 11 or 12, like past that first elite, you're in a good financial position. Then yeah, it's smooth sailing from there. You can get to absurd damage late game. But before that, it's like, okay, well, you're gonna be, in order to get to that point, you have to spend a lot in the shop, and you kind of have to risk in terms of like buying the minimal amount of stuff that you can afford to get away with, so you can pop off with the piggy bank, and then yeah, and pop off with the damage. Sick. I think 6 very good. I mean, the damage per second is not brilliant, but lifesteal is good. Unlike Wardling's lifesteal, you can just use SMGs or level 4 SMGs or shotguns or whatever, so you don't have to rely on like level 2 items in the late game. Farmer, very strong. I think using this, just the harvesting, increasing more, that stacks with crown as well. Yeah, and then you get consumables, +1 harvesting when eating a consumable at full house. Yeah, you can go pruners. Pruners will give you like loads more harvesting and loads more consumables, so you can really get your economy going out of control. And you just run around, don't need to really kill that much. And then if you get crown, this is GG with this build. Don't think he's strong as Loud, but yeah. Talk about Ghost. I think he's weak, not trash. I think he's weak. In fact, I think I think Ghost is weaker than Ghost is like, the thing with Ghost is like, if you can get like 90% dodge, the 10% 10 plus 10 damage with ethereal weapons is nothing, is useless. Ethereal weapons are bad, generally. Like, I've tried going like, you know, because an optimal build would be like, oh, let's go 6 spectral rods with Ghost, get loads of HP, or 6 axes. Like, none of these things are good. Just go, you want to sell it and just get SMGs, because ethereal weapons also give you minus armor, which just means you take even more damage, because it doesn't, you know, it doesn't matter too much, to be fair, because you already have minus 100 armor. Basically, the thing is, your dodge might be capped at 90, but like 10% of the time, when you take damage, you get clapped so hard that if you get unlucky, and you know you're going to be doing enough in the game, that you'll get unlucky. That I think Ghosts, you know, you can just get like one shot by something. Speedy, this character's S tier, just broken. I mean, just don't stand still, mate. That's all it is. And then you got 30% speed for free and 15 melee damage. Yeah. I mean, this works great with like medieval the lance, jousting lance. That's it really. There's not much more to say about Speedy. I think one of the flaws of Speedy that people fall into is like getting too much speed. You don't need more than like, you know, keep it at 30 speed if you want. You don't need to like lean into that aspect of your build. You just go, okay, I got 50 melee damage for free. I can get myself power generated. That'll give me loads of % damage. Yeah, don't get that at Etsy's couch. If you want to go up to 50 speed, by all means. If you don't. And then yeah, free armor. That's just like, yeah, you'll get that back in no time. And plus, you're so fast that you outrun everything. Entrepreneur, I think it's not that bad. I think it's good. In fact, the 100% minus 100% materials at the start of waves, I don't think it's that terrible. Just spend all your money. Minus 25% items price. Mwah. That's a chef's kiss. Just become really tanky. AoE. Yeah. You can always build like structures. Structures don't scale off damage, so the damage modification thing doesn't matter. But yeah, just get loads of harvesting. The harvesting also works with crown with this guy. The only thing I will say is like, yeah, maybe you just, in fact, it's straight up better than these guys. It's probably better than that. Yeah. Engineer. There. I think it's the strongest engineering class. well, no, the strongest is actually Cyborg, but the strongest pure engineering class is Engineer. Not much to say. I think engineering in general is not that strong. The structures spawning close together is like really good. Damage modification doesn't matter. You're going engineering. So yeah, just spam engineering. Hope for the best. The problem is generally like the focus of engineering is like kind of weak, which is kind of why I put it here. It's better than a base character though. Explorer. Again, S tier. Sometimes when I got bored, I like playing Explorer because it's just broken. You just run around the map, more map size, more enemies, just chopping down trees, getting items, enjoying your time. Not quite at the level of Pacifist, can still do a lot of damage, but yeah, it's just very strong. I think the Pacifist characters are very strong in general. Doctor, I think he's good. Honestly, medical weapons aren't very good. You're kind of forced to go medical guns or scissors here, which is, they aren't the best of items. I think the scissors are actually better, but you can go 6 medical guns. I think that's the only viable way to use them actually. And yeah, you have insane regen. Just have a store to actually kill stuff and like keep stuff off you. The armor modifications I think is the roughest thing about this class. So you can't become really tanky. Which if you the armor modification wasn't here, it'd probably be an A or S. Hunter. If I can find him, there we go. I think he's worse than Ranger. You want to build precise. I think this is the class that they're trying to get you to build. What's it called on? Crossbow on. Yeah. Won't bother doing that. Just build the shurikens. Max HP modification minus 33%, pretty rough. Obviously, harvesting is always nice to get, but it's not matter too much. Yeah, doesn't matter too much, the harvesting, but I'd say like the lack of tankiness is kind of rough. So now we come to some of the harder classes. Artificer, oh god, this class is rough. I'm trying to think whether Artificer was worse. Artificer I think is down here, it's just bad. It's another level of difficulty to this, because it's like you're kind of forced to go the shredders. I think, like, ideally with Artificer you go 6 planks or something, because the planks just have better base damage and you get like huge explosions. I think if you get to the end with huge explosions, it's good. The armor modification with this being an AoE focused build is what makes it rough. The minus 100% damage, I mean, you just use rocket launchers anyways. But yeah, the minus 100% damage does stop you from going like single target damage, which is what this class really needs with its armor modification being down. Like, it has AoE for days, but like when you come into bosses, that's when you'll be dying, or like some of the like really tankier mobs chasing you around. So yeah, this is one of the worst characters in the game. Arm Sealer, probably the worst character in the game. I think the best way to do it is to just be tanky. Use the harvesting, be tanky, run around. Yeah. and then snowball that way, because you know you're always going to have a luck of the draw of the weapon. Streamer, I feel like it's better than Armsy. I think this is the second worst character in the... Oh, it's hard to say. Maybe Streamer isn't. I think I struggled too. I barely beat Danger 5 with Streamer. I beat it with 6 turrets by survive running around and surviving. You do get absurd amount of armor, but it's like there's a dichotomy of where you want to get loads of materials, but like the speed. I think I was quite a speedy boy. I think I had like plus 30-40% speed. You do get a lot of minerals towards the late game. Materials, I mean. So, I mean, but you need like kind of everything. You need the sustain, which is where I struggled with this build. I think with the one that I won, I didn't quite have enough. I think I had a fairy, but I didn't quite have enough regen. I know people be saying with Streamer Go, like lifesteal and slingshots, but I think slingshots don't. I feel like there's not enough damage that this character does to justify it unless you get like insane bonuses. Cyborg, I think this is the best character in the game. It's up there. It's up there. This might be the best character in the game. Just do one minigun level 2, where the level 4 minigun will just, once you get that upgrade, will just like shred everything anyways, and shred all the bosses straight away. The range damage modification increased by 250% is absurd. You get, you know, and then like your one range damage goes to 2 engineering is absurd. When you have that on, so essentially one range damage that you purchase normally in the shop is going to give you 5 engineering. But yeah, just go 1 minigun, 5 turrets. That's what I do. And yeah, build loads of turrets. All the other melee and elemental engineering modifications reduced by 75%. Doesn't even matter. You're just gonna use your minigun. All the bosses are gonna die in like, you know, they're gonna be shot down by a plus 250% minigun, especially if you have 2 miniguns. I'm pretty sure the scaling is like on level 4 minigun is 1250% range damage, so that's just gonna completely obliterate any boss or elite straight away. Yeah, won this on my first run, was not even close to losing at any point. Glutton, this character's bad. I mean, you can. The reason I'm not putting it in trash is because you can technically play it as a, you know, like a worse version of. Basically, you can play it as well-rounded, but with 25% item price and 25 XP gain. I mean, if you play it the explosion way, explosion damage, I think is difficult. The consumables exploding, really good. I think I completed Glutton without even doing level 1 of Artificer, so I didn't have explosive shells. I think that was what it was. So yeah, that was tough. Jack, I think it's down here. There we go. We'll put Jack there. The way that I did it was with 6 laser guns. I think laser gun has a problem with its, you know, the attack speed is just rough. Maybe it would have been better to do it with like 6 slingshots or something. I did consider that, but at the end of the day, I got it sorted with 6 laser guns. Apologies, just had someone at the door, so I had to pause the recording. Since we're 40 minutes again in, I'm not going to restart it. We'll talk about Jack anyways. Jack is trash. I'm pretty sure I said that already, how I killed the boss with Jack. Well, I didn't really kill the boss, I more like just survived. The 250% enemy health is just means that you're never going to kill an elite, really. You can, but it's always very close and very difficult. I think with Jack, it's actually best to get stuff like Mouse and Gentle Alien because of the materials dropped bonus. You can get quite a good economy going, and that's how I beat with Jack. Lich, however, very strong. I think it's like here. The HP regen, lifesteal, decent. If you get something like blood donation, or even better, getting bloody hand, this Lich can become very strong and just come in terms of like regen, hurting stuff. Again, like, it's hard. I think it's very strong character. Damage modifications going down is it's fine when you're tanky. In fact, I'd say, like, because it doesn't have any like economy bonus, I think Lich is probably the weakest of these. But I think I couldn't not put in S tier. Apprentice, I think it's powerful. In fact, I think it's the most powerful of these. The -2 max HP when you level up isn't too bad, but obviously, like, it can get to you being very squishy at certain points in the game. So yeah, you need to be worried about that. Well, you'll naturally like scale into your offense, not a problem with this character. It's just the defense. It can be a bit rough sometimes, which is why it's not in S. Talk about Cryptid. I think Cryptid is quite strong as well. I don't think it's S tier, but like the trees, extra trees is always good for any character, and you get loads of HP regen. The dodge cap at 70 instead of 60, I don't think it's a huge deal. The HP regen is very good, and the materials and XP is good. It kind of like dissuades you from going like AoE or like lots of like bounce and stuff like that, which would be really nice to go on Cryptid. Just like dodge all the trees and then go. And also you kind of want to get rid of trees as well for lots of materials and chances to get items. But it's kind of de-incentivizes you to do that, so that's why I have it in A tier, because it's not perfect. I used to think Fisherman was here in Trash. I think you had to. I'm gonna put him in weak. I think if you're like really good at strategy and you survive the first few waves, it's like here. You just have to buy lots of baits, more than you think. Like, just buy 5 per wave, and then you just get absurd damage numbers at a point where it's like it doesn't matter. And yeah, you'll get loads of harvesting. Once you've got like 100 bait under your belt, then you know you're gonna have like 800% bonus damage, and then 200 harvesting, all of that sort of stuff. So you'll be all right. Make sure to get bait at your first few waves, is my advice, and then after a certain point you're going to become unkillable. You can chill and not take as many bait. But I think the best way to do it is like to risk early, and then if you need to restart, you need to restart. Golem, I've seen a lot of people say that Golem's very strong. I am not one of those people. Max HP and armor modifications obviously amazing. Like the offensive stats are amazing. The you can't heal in any way, not quite as good. I mean, in first few waves you're never gonna die as Golem, but like late game you kind of just get whittled down if you're not a great dodger of stuff, which is why I'm gonna put him down here. I mean, obviously if you're a great player, then he's up here, but me, I'm not that good. King, I think King is very strong. You just get 50 luck off the bat and a better weapon start, and if you do get tier 4 weapons and items, then yeah, you're gonna get loads of stuff. Minus 2 HP for tier 1 items is kind of a negative, but you know, you can live with it for sure. In fact, I'll put him on the top of A because that is actually something you have to go around. But the luck is gonna give you good items, so you won't get too many of tier 1s. Renegades, I feel like it's good, or maybe at the bottom of this. The accuracy thing, it doesn't matter. Just you get extra projectiles, and you get projectiles doing more damage. No, I think it's good. It takes a bit of while to get used to. I think obviously the percent damage bonus is kind of rubbish. But maybe I'll put it towards the bottom even if it's down there. What do you get? You're always going to want to buy tier 1 items. They're great. Most of them, and then yeah, you just start stacking them up, and you'll get to back to even pretty quickly. And some of those will also give you percent damage. Yeah, I didn't think it's that bad at all. I didn't find it that difficult. I actually found well-rounded more difficult. But that was me. One-armed, honestly strong. Obviously, the one weapon at a time is bad, but it depends on the weapon. Some weapons can just solve the game with just having one weapon, and then you got 200% attack speed, 100% extra damage modification. Yeah, just rock that boy up with an SMG, upgrade that to a minigun, or God forbid, like a legendary weapon. You'll be winning the game, no problem. Obviously, it's the downside to only you quit one weapon, but I think it's not that bad. Bull, honestly, pretty good. I think I'll put it towards the top of this. Maybe it's here-ish. These aren't exactly ordered, but I think Bull is very strong. Just very tanky from the start of the game. The explosions are great. What you really want to look for, Bloody Hand or the blood donation. Yeah, without those things, it can be a bit rough to actually have to risk to get your explosion off. But kind of what you do is circle them around, group them up, and then boom, or go into like low damage enemies. That's the only thing I will say about Bull. Soldier, this character's broken. It's up here. If you know how to stutter step, so you like attack, stutter, everything about him is just amazing. Plus 50% damage, plus 50% attack speed, plus 10% speed, the pickup range and plus 15 knockback, surprisingly good. Plus you've got high fire rate of fire. Weapons. Yeah, nothing wrong with Soldier at all. Very good character. Not much more to say. Masochist. Again, another one that like kind of benefits from the donation. I would just put it here. I don't think it's as you do have to take like 20 hits to like get back your damage, and it kind of like lowers your instant burst, which is like kind of bad against elites and bosses. Ideally, like something like Cyborg just deletes the boss in like 3 seconds that it would take Masochist to power up. I'd say 3 seconds. It takes more like 10 seconds. The HP regen and HP and armor is good, but yeah, I think it's only here. It's still a strong character. Knight, this character's broken. There's all or anything. I think it's the second strongest in the game. Melee damage for armor, brilliant. +5 armor. Get yourself, you know, you can only equip tier 2 weapons or above, so you start with a tier 2 weapon, is what it's saying. The harvesting and attack speed modification is not brilliant, but you just get so tanky with this guy, and tankiness is rewarded with melee damage, and you start with 10 melee damage for free at the start of the game. And you know, you can go for tags that give you armor. Quite a few tags do. I think the blunt tag does. It's either medieval. I think it's medieval that gives you armor as well. It gives you armor speed. So yeah, you can just get loads of armor for just building items. There, if you really wanted to, you could go the spiky shield. Will give you loads of armor as well, but then that would, I think spiky shield defeats the purpose of Knight, but probably works anyways. Demon, lastly, up here. I think at the bottom end of this, you just get materials for free. 50% of your materials are converted to max HP, and you buy max HP items with max HP instead of materials, but the conversion rate means essentially you're buying from the shop at 50% less price. So yeah, it's just like minus 50% shop price. There's not much more to it. Let's have a look at this. I will say that like B is average, above average, extremely broken. I'll change these tierings into below average, weak, struggle, difficulties. I think this is about correct. I mean, I could split this tier up further, but I think there's a reason. These are like roughly equivalent, I think. Was there any that I wouldn't put here? I'm trying to think if there's any that I wouldn't put here. Like, what do I think of? Like Lucky. I think Lucky deserves to be there. For sure. What about One Arms? I think One Arms deserves to be there as well. If anything, I'd put Mage down. Crazy, I guess, in the context of things, it's not that crazy. But I think Crazy only has positive traits. Some of these guys have like straight up negative traits that make it hard, that make it a challenge, but just a different challenge to not having anything at all. I think overall have stronger than average traits. Any of these that I could see going down? Maybe Renegade. Here. Yeah, I think these 8 characters are easily the 8 hardest characters in the game. Maybe Generalist is down here as well. I don't think Generalist is in the tier of these guys. I think once you know Fisherman is actually very strong, but before you know him, he can be very difficult. I'm talking like you load one of these characters up for your first run, sort of thing, rather than anything else. That's it, really. So yeah, that's my list. I think Cyborg's definitely the strongest. You could make, if maybe Speedy's. These characters are just all absurd. These ones at the top, like Beyond Broken. There's some strong characters here, for sure, that have like a few weaknesses that stop them being absolutely dumb. Then you have characters here that are like they have their strengths but have clear weaknesses. With Mage, it's the fact that you have to use elemental. With Golem, no healing. With Doctor, it's the what's it called? The fact you have to use medical weapons and the lack of armor. I think actually Mutant is better than some of these. I'll put him here. With Engineer, it's just engineering. This is just short range melee. You have to use sticks. Lack of tankiness. Then this is like the issue of having to buy loads of having weak damage until you buy loads of items. You'll be strong in the late game, and then you won't really have any strengths. It's just your limit of having only level 2 slingshots. I mean you can do it with anything else. I think with these you could easily win. But yeah, these are like absurd levels of difficulty. You have to use specific strats to win with these guys, or they just like randomly lose for no reason. Like I think Ghost is an example of that. Anyways, I have already been going on for an hour, but Brotato is one of my favourites. I've been playing it for like 120 hours. So there you go. Cheers for this, and hope you maybe had an insight about character or two. If you disagree, let us know. That's about it.